fuck. Apparently, Savannah Comic-Con in Georgia got Jonathan Hickman.
Oh!
And they're
goes
like,
to these... You gotta go.
Yeah. Dude, they're like, we're so glad to tell everybody that we have Jonathan Hickman. I'm like, okay, so the line's gonna be like out the door and like around, and it's gonna be insane. I'll go to that shit. Like,
you met him. How was the line when you met him last time?
Well, I got there early. Did I tell you the story about what's his name?
Hold on to that thought, Rob. Hold that thought. Just smiling, because welcome to the weekly poll. We're just going to keep rambling, and we're never going to start the actual podcast.
Okay. Did I tell you about...
guys, real quick, I got to intro it. Let me intro it, then you can ramble all you want, okay? Okay? Welcome to the weekly poll. This is the weekly podcast, every other week, and then occasional weeks extra whenever we want to talk about things, where me, Comicstorian, Rob from Comics Explained, and Sal from Comic Pop, along with Tiffany from Comic Pop, and Joel, bring you our pop culture analysis of everything that's going on, from comic books, to movies, to video games, whatever we feel like talking about this particular week. Normally, the show's an hour long, but we're starting 15 minutes late because we just rambled for 15 minutes. That is a normal thing. Today we're going to be talking about all of the new Marvel stuff because yes, last week they talked about it, but a lot of that was theory. Now Marvel's come out with a lot of the books and what is going on, so we have more to talk about. But before we get to that, Rob, tell us your story.
All right, well, one thing, actually, after we had that whole discussion about how we would reboot Marvel, like, I came home and started working in Excel, and I've literally got a way for Marvel to reboot. It took me a day. So, like, just saying, Marvel.
I'll tell you right now,
like,
so far I'm not happy with the current reboot books.
Yeah, it's,
I was so excited when they announced this, because, like, the image was, like, Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, and I'm like, great, we'll go back to your Pinnacle 3, we're gonna start from the beginning, then we'll start bringing, like, this is gonna be great. And CB, what's his name, CB?
Cebulski.
So, he tweeted out some of the books, and I saw your thread on it, Sal, and I was like, why do these exist?
Oh, yeah, like, who asked for a Quicksilver book? No one!
At least I will say that there is a fan base for the guy that got shot in the Ultron movie. Who asked for a Multiple Man book?
That's the thing.
Yeah,
like, and
Jimmy Madrox, man. I can't wait for him to come back and lead X Factor, the detective team again.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, and people have been countering me with this argument. They're like, yeah, who asked for a Vision book? Who asked for, like, Old Man Logan? Like, okay, first of all, that was Tom freaking King's pitch. Who's writing Multiple Man?
Yeah, like all the people who asked for the Vision book were the ones who read it, like the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who read it, and the people who said it was critically acclaimed, and like who reviewed it was like, this is one of the best Vision books ever. Yes, all those people were the ones who asked for it.
Now that being said, I mean, like, for all we know, Multiple Man #2 could blow, by issue 2, Multiple Man could blow our socks off. And we're like, oh, I can't believe I lived in a world without Multiple Man, who was unceremoniously murdered in Death of X.
Oh,
here's
dude.
the problem I have with Multiple Man.
He just died of a virus. It was the outbreak.
Just like, I got sick, and I'm gone, and every one of me is gone. There's no way I can come back
ever.
Yeah, all different legacy virus killed him, and it's just.
But my big problem with Multiple Man is like, it doesn't matter if it's the most incredible book and it wins awards, as proven by the Vision book that you just mentioned. Yeah. That as many people as enjoy that book, and as good as that book is, it did not break bestsellers. It did not warrant more Vision books. Marvel did not then go, hey, we have an ongoing Vision and Family book. Nothing came out of it.
No. Okay. Let me say this before we start the podcast. Let me say this. That's my plan for a reboot.
Well, all right. We already started the podcast. You can talk this in the podcast.
We already did. Okay, so here's the genius of DC Rebirth. DC Rebirth sat down and said, just because it could be an ongoing book doesn't mean it should be an ongoing book. Yeah. And like, that's okay. So here's my pitch. All right, like, what people need right now is like an understanding of the Marvel universe. Like, what's what? How does it work? All right, and Sal, you remember this, Benny? I'm sure you're familiar with this. They used to have those roll calls back in the day. Yeah. Where like you get to the end of a comic and it'd be like, here's who's who. So my idea is release a whole bunch of one-shots. Then all the one-shots do is establish like the foundation. So you have the one-shots on the cosmic entities. So the ones I listed were the one above all, the origin of the universe. How the hell did all this shit come into existence? All right, and then like the Living Tribunal, the cosmic entities themselves, the Infinity Stones, because you got Infinity War coming out, and like Galactus. And then you go on to one-shots, which are like the origins of the Elders of the Universe, like just one big comic, and like the Deviants, the Eternals, the Skrulls, the Kree, the Shi'ar, the Nova Corps, and like the origin of Asgard. Those are all one-shot comics. and that's it. And then you do like a maxi series or like a graphic novel. And it's just like Tales of Asgard, Tales of the Nova Corps, Tales of the Invaders if you wanted to, like Tales of Galactus and Silver Surfer, Tales of Mutants, like basically the history of mutants. And you literally turn it into a thing where you have like writers and artists who all contribute to this graphic novel, and each story is like 5 or 6 pages. And that's it. So then Marvel can literally test all the writers and artists who want to get into the industry, who want to write for Marvel, and say, write this, and if we don't like it, then we'll never see you again. And like that's it. And then you start going into 0 issues. And then you start going into like number 1, like first volumes, number 1s, number 2s, number 3s. Like that's literally what I would do. Like miniseries and like one shots that build everything, and then you start going into the characters. Like to me it makes sense. And it works because it's organized and it's structured. Because right now shit's all over the place in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, and that's what this tweet does not verify that we're going to have anything organized. I mean, who wanted a Domino book?
Okay, so where's the I'm not seeing it. Where's the tweet at where he listed everything?
I don't know. I can't find it, but I can find that Matthew Rosenberg is writing Multiple Man, and I'll be honest, the cover looks like a Miracle Man ripoff.
I'm gonna put it in the Twitch chat, Rob, because I can't send it over to you directly right now.
Like,
there it is.
It looks like
it'll mess everything up.
It looks like the pitch is like, what if you had multiples of yourself? Do you have an identity? Like, is that? And I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, I'm sorry, but
okay, hold on. Let me clarify something, because Foxbox Kid just brought up something. The Domino's a mini. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a goddamn mini. If you're restarting your freaking, you have lost the faith of every one of your Marvel fans. The only people clamoring at this point are the hardcores who will never leave. You could turn the Marvel universe into a My Little Pony universe, and these people would still buy the books. That is who's really left. So if your fresh start initiative is to bring in new people and show that you're going to bring back the legacy properly this time, who said, let's have a Domino mini? Like, where did that come from?
Well, no, but see, to me, that's not a bad thing.
I know where that came from.
I mean, Domino's going to be in Cable and Deadpool. That's why she's getting. That's it. And
maybe we can ape off a couple of shekels from the runoff from the movies.
But see, that's smarter than giving her an ongoing series and then canceling it 8 issues in.
Right,
well, how about don't do it?
The core problem that I feel, and I said this in our podcast, that Marvel has right now is too many goddamn books. They are giving you 60-something books to go out there and buy, and they're basically oversaturating their own market. Like, everyone wants to be a comic book YouTuber, and when Rob, me, and Sal first started this whole thing, there was Rob, me, and Sal, fuck comic book cast. There,
Scott was also,
out there,
I think,
but there
around
were so
then.
few of them. You can now do search for comic book channels, and there's like hundreds of them. And that is what Marvel has 60-something books.
No. Marvel has 60 books ongoing.
That's what I mean.
Marvel has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 miniseries, and 1, 2, 3 crossover events that have happened so far.
And that's
they've got 14 outside of the ongoing books.
And that's the problem right there. And they're all like $4.99 or more. Like, we don't have like the $2.99 initiative or anything like that. You're talking about a piece of entertainment that I can cut down in about 10 minutes on most current day comics. If it takes only 13 words, if it's a wordy issue, 20 minutes. But we're not talking like for 3 comics, I get an hour's worth of content if they're all completely wordy books. And for that same price, I can go see a movie. That's the problem Marvel's having right now. You're not getting your bang for your buck, and now they're like, here's more minis, more books. You know what the problem is? You want more Marvel.
No, but that's why I say miniseries aren't a bad idea. Like, having 60 ongoing series is a problem, because you're telling a person who wants to get into, like, Spider-Man, well, there's 4 books you can read. It's 1990 Spider-Man. Like, there's 4 books you can read, and they're all ongoing.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, which one's the main Spider-Man book? Well, which kind of Spider-Man do you like?
They're all the same.
I like the main Spider-Man. Yeah, but like, do you like? There's all the Spider. Like, there's 4 Spider-Man books. Like, which Spider-Man do you want? Like, that's the problem. That
analogy doesn't even work, because 50% of those books were written by the same guy. Like, they were literally just 4 more Spider-Man books. But you know what's funny about that? Everybody who bought Spider-Man bought all of them. No one didn't buy. If you were buying Amazing, you were buying Spectacular, unless you didn't like Buscema's art, in which case you were buying Web of, unless you didn't like Savick's art, which I didn't, so I didn't buy it after a while. But like, if Marvel's problem is they don't understand that even if they only published 8 books a year, they would sell out all 8 books a year because they're the number 1 or 2 in the industry. And like you said, if they publish nothing, if they turn it all, everyone in Marvel is going to be a Tsum Tsum now. And literally that's it. Like Aunt May's a Tsum Tsum, Spider-Man's a Tsum Tsum, Galactus is a Tsum Tsum. And not like an alternate reality. They all, like, a Tsum Tsum cosmic entity comes in and turns them all into little pillow men. They'll sell the same goddamn number of books. Yeah. Like, because the hardcore fans, the collectors, the speculators, everyone will buy it, and they will. And oh, gee whiz, Marvel will go from number 1 in the market to number 2 in the market in a market of 2.
Yeah.
Because literally, like, look at Image and how, like, badly they did last year, despite the fact that they are number 3 in the market.
Yeah.
Look at Valiant and how much effort, time, money, and talent they put behind it. Did I say talent already? If I did, it bears repeating. But how much effort they put into that freaking publishing company, they couldn't even beat 1% of the market.
Yeah. No, you're right. This market is the same thing, and it will always be the same thing. That's the problem with the comic book industry in general. And Marvel doesn't want to adapt. DC's trying. Like, they're making really good strides to try and change it, but it's the comic book industry needs to change in general. And we're not talking, here's the latest reboot with domino stories and multiple man stories. It's like you need to find a better way to get these stories out.
Yes.
That's why digital will be the way to do it. I mean, everything's digital now.
It's the way it's going. But, like, what's amazing is there's no statistics to report how the digital sales are going.
Yeah.
What kind of reverse math is that?
Yeah. Like Comicsology doesn't keep track. They just sell the shit and then just and then just count the cash.
No, they keep track.
I know. They've got all kinds of analytics going on. Yeah, it's one of those things where, because like they always have those huge summits with the retailers.
Yeah.
And that's one of those huge things. It's like if Marvel was like, okay, guys, like we have a huge piece of news for all the retailers, and they all show up, and it's like, so we're not sending comics to you anymore. Like they would just lose their shit.
Well, I mean, there's
all
already
these comic book stores would go crazy.
Marvel and its writers are killing comic book stores, and while I do agree, like Marvel's causing problems for comic book stores, 100% a problem. When you have 60 books and you don't even know how to promote your own books, when you're putting out 3 Black Panthers and you don't even tell people that there is another Black Panther book out, that is not helping comic book stores. But it's time for comic book stores to adapt to the fact that everything is changing. Like, the market is changing. Things are going digital. There's a reason why GameStop is turning into a hot topic. It's because nobody's buying their games at GameStop anymore.
Yeah,
they're buying them all on Steam and the PlayStation Store.
The best thing is the best comic book stores have already figured that out, and they're adapting. I'm seeing 2 types of comic book stores. I'm seeing the comic book store that looks just like the one from 30 years ago, with a retailer who started 30 years ago or 15 years ago, who is going on YouTube and bitching and moaning about how bad the industry is and about SJWs. And then you have the other comic book stores, the one you don't hear about because they're too busy making money.
Yeah. Oh, the ones around us that have like adapted and not closed down, they've opened up game tables, and they're doing stuff like trading cards, and they're moving over to like board games, and they're having like community events. And the ones that I hear closing down are the ones that we've gone to a lot of cities now. And yes, Marvel's causing problems for comic books. That's 100%. It's not just Marvel. It's the fact that every company's trying to throw out an Image for 2015 had like 5 new #1s every month. Just hoping one would stick.
Well, just I need another saga. Please.
I need another Spawn. That's what they're shooting for. They're shooting for another Spawn.
That's never going to happen.
That is never going to happen. But that's the thing. When people think of Image, like Spawn is synonymous with Image. Image is Superman, and so it's like okay, like that's the house that built Image Comics, and they have all kinds of other cool stuff. One of my favorites is East of West, but that's the difference. Like Image doesn't have like a shared universe. It's just like a whole bunch because they're not designed to.
They did, and it was a mess.
Creator-owned.
Well, I do find it funny that everyone likes to blame Marvel 100% for the problem with the industry, and everyone forgets that Image did have that period where there was a new #1 every week, sometimes 2 of them. I remember reading Saga during that period, and I was like, well, I want to get on the next big Image train. I want to get on the next. So I was like, hey, Jason, my comic book store guy, put aside all the new Image #1s, and it came in after 2 months, and I'm like, stop, because I'm not even going to read half of these at this point.
And
but no, that's the difference. It's like you can't if Marvel if they did that, if Marvel said okay, we're going to reboot everything, the problem is I think Marvel's modeling themselves like after DC or trying to look at DC's success and trying to capitalize on it. But the issue is that if we're being honest with ourselves, DC is trying to get themselves continuity-wise where Marvel's been the entire time. Just like a linear continuity and no reboots or crises or anything. Right. But just because something's a reboot doesn't mean that it's bad. The problem with DC's reboot was that they got rid of all the shit people liked when they launched New 52.
Well,
that's the problem they had.
What DC should have done a New 52 is sit down and go, okay, what are the most popular? This list of events and things that have happened. What is not popular? This list. This list goes. This one stays.
It literally could have taken a weekend. The New 52 would have been embraced by everybody instead of just new readers if they had literally taken a weekend and just done that. Just literally made a comprehensive list of what stays, what goes, where we are, when we are, and what Jeff Johns wants to write, and then release that. And you know what you could have done? It would have been called the DC Handbook. You charged $8, and you could have made another couple $100,000 off of it, off the backs of your readers who desperately just want to know what the hell's happening. But instead, they were like, we got this. We've been doing this for 75 years. I know what I'm doing. Give everybody a popped collar. The end.
Yeah, that's exactly what. See, to me, that's how you test the waters. Like that's how you explain. The old job that I used to have when I worked at UK, we had to diagnose problems. So like something goes wrong. Okay, like let's figure out what's going wrong with this, and it could be any one of 10 things. So we're going to go through each of these 10 things, and we're going to figure out what the actual problem is. Maybe it's something I can fix. Maybe it's something somebody else can fix. Marvel's problem is it's the paradox of choice. That's Marvel's problem, is they sit 60 comics in front of a person and they say, okay, which one do you want to read? It's like, well, I want to read Thor. It's like, okay, well, here's Journey into Mystery and Thor. Which one do you want to read? It's like, well, I want to read Thor. Okay, cool, here's Thor. All right, and then they sit them down there again. Well, I want to read Spider-Man. Okay, well, here's the Spectacular Spider-Man Peter Parker, and here's Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, and here's Amazing Spider-Man, and here's Ben Reilly, Ben Reilly Spider-Man. So, like, which one do you want to read? Well, I just want to read the Spider-Man one with Peter Parker. Okay, well, we'll remove the Ben Reilly one. Here's the other three. Like it's like okay, that's the problem. Is this paradox of choice? Less is more. And so while you could give people one shots, you could give them miniseries, things like that. Make them backup features. That's what I would do. I would release an ongoing X-Men series, and like the origins of the members of the X-Men would be backup features in each comic. They'd be 5 to 10 pages, and like that's it.
Remember when they used to do that in annuals?
Yes, they did. Yes,
they were like,
did.
Hey. You probably know this already, but just in case you're new, here's everything about these guys.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. That's one thing I miss. Like for years, like Sinister was obsessed as hell with like Jean Grey and Scott Summers, and it's like, well, why? Well, here's a story called The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix. And it'll answer that question for you. So, like, there you go. Go read this. Like, you read the further adventures of Cyclops and Jean. Well, here's Cable's future. Here's everything that happened from the time Cable showed up in 4,000 or whatever it was to like the time he first went back in time to fight Apocalypse. Like, here's the life and times of Cable, and it's covered in that. When they refer to like Red and Slim, and when they're raising him, and he gets the how he deals with the legacy virus, or I'm sorry, the techno-organic virus, and like the creation of Strife, all that stuff is covered in like that story. But like it's one of those where you have to hunt for that. Yeah. Like you have to look for those things. And that's why I think the idea of a reboot is good, because what you do is you consolidate all the stuff that people like. You say, okay, so people want Peter Parker Spider-Man. Awesome. We'll give him the Amazing Spider-Man. Number 0. Here's the origin of Peter Parker. Uncle Ben dies, he becomes a wrestler, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada.
Spoilers.
And then he becomes a hero. Spoilers. And then you go into Spider-Man Volume 1. He fights Chameleon. Or you could shift it up from the original and say he fights Dr. Octopus instead. That's his first villain. You literally base it on the you shift it. You make it on the popularity of what's relevant at the time. He fights the Vulture, whatever, because Spider-Man Homecoming. Whatever the case is, like you go through and you start bringing characters back, but maybe you change up how it happened, how they first met. Maybe Secret Wars never happened. Secret Wars 1984 never took place, so we get the Venom symbiote from some other means. Someone makes it or something like that. Who knows? But whatever the case is, like you take what people loved in terms of the characters that they loved, you shift them up just enough so that it might as well be brand new, and then throw it out as a reboot, so they're basically getting everything they liked with a little bit of a twist, and then new fans come in. So new fans don't feel left out, and old fans don't feel betrayed. Now there will be people on the extremes. There will be the ones who are just like, no, don't change anything. All right, if the new fans don't know where it is, that's their problem. Okay, well, that's kind of ridiculous. But
it doesn't have to be their problem. They just need to, they need to have a little bit. They have to work a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean, can you do this?
Yeah, but most people aren't going to do that. Like the people that I know that walk, like the average person I know that walks into a comic book store is like, I want to read Spider-Man.
They don't exist.
Well, no, they do. They're not going to Google search where to start with Spider-Man.
No, they're not. They don't exist.
No, those people are. They're not. Those fans, those casuals who just walked in after having seen a movie, they're not going to look up where to start with Spider-Man.
No, they don't. That's the problem with that.
Does not exist.
That's
Marvel thinks Marvel thinks that all the time. That's why Venom has weird eyes. That's why Vulture was like shoehorned into comics. That's why Domino is a mini-series. That's why Multiple Man was greenlit, because they heard that James Franco was going to star in a Multiple Man movie, and then James Franco turned out to be a pervert, and that's over. So like, all these things are just them going like, oh, the movies are going to get people to come in. If they were, the comic book industry would be like it was in 1994, and it ain't. The fact is, anybody who's interested in anything at all is going to research it. You want to buy a camera? What are you going to do? Go into a fucking Best Buy and grab a camera? You're going to Google the camera you want.
No,
or
actually,
if you're not gonna,
you can
you
go
don't
to
even
Best
know
Buy, buy the camera, bring it home, and then return it for 2 weeks. We had a buddy that did that for 3 months straight until Best Buy was like, you can't do this anymore.
Your friend is a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He tried every
they banned
camera,
him.
didn't he?
They banned him for that. Yeah.
Literally, all you got to do is go, or like, I mean, it's the same equivalent to going on YouTube and looking up customer unboxings and tests and stuff like that. If we are interested in a new camera, I'm going to go look at what other people are doing with that camera. If I want a new comic book, I'm going to Google that comic book or those characters or those creators or whatever, and I'm going to find something that I want. And if it's so impenetrable, which the comic book industry kind of is, because like comics are hard to read. Like you can't just say, I want to read X-Men. If you do, that's fair, but like there is no point of entry for them, unfortunately. There's only the deep end, and
Yeah.
they don't like that.
Much time, yeah.
But like, if you reboot, you're gonna have to reboot again and again and again, and every time you reboot, it's gonna get worse and worse and worse.
DC's
But that's-
Just like it always has.
But that's the point. Is the issue? The issue with this is that whenever, like with DC's reboots, whenever DC rebooted, they never fully fleshed it out. I mean, it took a while to plan out
That's not
Crisis on
true.
Infinite Earths, but
Zero Hour. At the end of Zero Hour, there is a freaking open page
Oh, I know,
timeline.
but they were still left with a shit ton of continuity.
Yeah.
3 years after Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, Hawkman finally got an origin. It took 3 years for them to explain why he didn't come from a different
you know
universe.
why?
In that
Because
3-year
Hawkman
window,
doesn't sell, and they could rest on their laurels. They were like, when that happened, Man of Steel John Byrne book was selling like hotcakes. Frank Miller just blew the doors off Batman. Like nobody's talking about Hawkman, and if they are, they're reading old Hawkman books because there's no Hawkman books coming out right now. And then later, one person decided, you know what, we should probably do something about Hawkman. Put out Hawkworld, and then somebody who's a big fan from 35 years ago went, that doesn't make any sense because there's a million Hawkmen now.
But that's the problem, is you can't reboot and say, well, I mean, it doesn't matter because Hawkman doesn't matter. There's no gray area there. There's just like everybody gets an origin, and like these origins, like, and you don't see them until they get an origin. Like you don't get any interim Hawkman stories. There's Hawkman number 0, however long it takes for that story to come out. Now, I mean that's like, to me, that's what you do.
I don't disagree. I think that like you need to have starting points, but like, remember when the Ultimate Universe, they just like Marvel decided that it was impenetrable, and it was like, nah, everyone's really happy with what's going on with the Ultimate Universe. If the book doesn't work, they canceled the book, or you know what I mean, like the Ultimates. Everybody loved Ultimates 1. I think people really like Ultimates 2. Ultimates 3, they made the mistake of giving it to a crappy writer, and the whole like brand fell apart because Jeff Loeb tanked it. So then they gave it to Jeff Loeb to fix the Ultimate Universe, when in reality, like, you could literally you could pick up this volume here, Marvel did a really good job of publishing their Ultimate books. Not as good as like Valiant when they publish their books, and it's like, oh, I know how to read these characters now. Here's a color-coded, like, pretty on the shelf system. Marvel was pretty okay with that with the Ultimate Universe. Oh, you want to read X-Men? Start with Ultimates Volume 1 or Ultimate X-Men Volume 1, and that's where it ends, or where it stops for now. Like, that's it. Marvel.
Yeah, I love the way you say stuff, man.
Thank you.
So
but like,
over the list of comics, you guys have been doing great, so I didn't want to interrupt you.
I mean, Sal's got a point. You got a really good point. I'm just saying, the Ultimate Universe is one thing, because people sit down and they say, okay, like Ultimate Universe Captain America, that's a Captain America. That's not the Captain America. Like that's the difference.
But here's the thing: if somebody like wants, let's use this hypothetical example. I'm a dope, and I just saw Avengers, and I like Captain America the most because Chris Evans is so pretty, and I wander through the streets like I'm coming out of a fog, and lo and behold, the heavens light above, and it illuminates this comic book store, which has been in my town for 25 years, but I just finally noticed it. And I walk through the doors, and I want to start with Captain America. And so belligerently and completely, like, stupid, I just look at the retail, I go, I want to read Captain America! Give me Captain America now! Like no one ever would in the history of ever. And they're going to go, well, what kind of stories are you interested in? Like, that's how you start. Like, and Marvel's problem is they don't, like, everybody, if people want it so bad, give it to them. Like, if you, like, oh, you know what's fun? Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a crazy movie. Volume 2 came out, or let's say even Volume 1 comes out. How about we go back and we republish all of our Guardians of the Galaxy books in pretty new covers with volume 1, 2, 3, and 4 clearly printed on the freaking cover. Since Marvel's chronology is linear, it shouldn't be hard to do. Captain America, same deal, only it's gone a little longer, so maybe we don't use the volume 1s and 2s. Maybe instead, we just put really eye-catching titles, like the ones they used on the stories. Like, and then the reader has just been like, okay, I want to read Captain America. Well, you know, he's been through a lot. It's been 80 years. Where do you want to start? I don't know. Now,
Captain America, volume 225.
Right. Like, I guess now, like, I mean, like, I guess I want to start now. And it's like your retailer's responsibility and the reader's responsibility to guide the reader. The reader needs to be like, well, I know that I can't just, like, grab any Captain America book and expect to know what's happening, because it would be like, I want to read the new Tom Clancy novel. Like, okay, there's kind of a series going on. If you grab the newest one, you might not know what's happening. I want to read the new Harry Potter book. I hear that character is very popular. Well, you're going to have to start with one, but the newest one is out. Like, right. No, that doesn't happen. So just make them so that it's your responsibility to be like, well, I know that, like, there's a new book out right now. I'll go pick it up. Or the retailer tells you there's a new book out right now, but you know what? It's a little esoteric. You might want to start with this. Or if you want to see if you like Captain America, here's a book that I recommend. Marvel just published a whole shitload of Captain America books that all look really great, and they're all self-contained because they're graphic novels that are collected stories, because that's how the system works. And you just pick up anything, like, and maybe they'll go, that sucked, and then they just move on, or they go, that was great, and then they either go in forward or backward, or they jump around. You know, it's not our responsibility. It's not Marvel's responsibility to, like, go, I don't know how you're going to read these comics. Just make them available. Like, just they keep trying to, like, figure out how to preempt the new reader, how to trick the new reader into getting into their comic book stores and buy their comics, and all they need to do is just make them available. Just make them available. You're the number 1 or 2 publisher in the industry. You now are owned by a major multinational conglomerate. You can't fail. Just be a book publisher, for the love of God. Just publish books. Just do it. They're right there. Like, I mean,
this
Comicsology.
Has been an interesting episode so far. We are like about 40 minutes into it, and it's been nothing but a combo of, like, 3 Sal rants with, like, 2 Rob rants peppered into it. I'm just ranted with each other for a good chunk of it.
Yeah,
we did. I'm just saying, like, Charlie just posted a gif of some chick that just got hot dogs thrown in her face. I don't know why he did that. I did have something
I was going to question you guys about.
Please, yes.
So, for the record, guys, the skipping video, I don't know what that is. It's the Skype again.
I think it's your computer, man.
Not Skype again.
I mean, I didn't have any problems with OBS. Did anybody see any problems last week? Those of you guys who were here, I didn't see any problems last week with the live stream.
No,
last week, the week before that, I didn't have any issues either.
But I'm looking at the stream, and it's skipping intermittently.
The audio is fine. It's the video coming from Skype over.
Oh. Ooh.
It's always something.
It's always something.
What's your CPU percentage being used in OBS?
I'm not using OBS. We had to drop OBS because
we're using
XSplit. It's causing that lag issue.
Oh, okay.
But on XSplit, it's 19%.
Oh, it's not
wow.
Bad.
Yeah,
that's damn. It's kind of a lot, actually.
Well,
more than you should be using for a live stream anyway.
Well, no, I agree with you on that, but that's the problem with XSplit is like a massive CPU hog.
Oh, I know it is.
That's why we weren't using XSplit, because it's a massive CPU.
That's kind of intense. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that bad, but I've seen like tweets and posts that people have made. Anyway, what was your question?
Oh, no.
Yes.
What I was going to do is go through the list of confirmed books so far and get you guys' opinions
do
on
it.
them. But your rants were fine, so I was like, all right.
No. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, so the first thing, so CB, so whatever, he has tweeted out a couple of them. We got, first up, we're doing Venom, which, by the way, is restarting at 1, but it's also going to get legacy numbered at like 170 something.
Yeah, right. they're doing double numbering. So, all right, that's not a fresh start. It's not a fresh start. If the story keeps on from the last story,
from what I get, it's still Eddie Brock, still working for Alchemex, still doing all the same shit.
Okay, so Marvel, like, how is that a fresh start? Like, unless you're going to go back and you're going to cover everything that happened in like the first 5 pages, or like make an even bigger mistake and do like a 1-page splash screen, how is that a fresh start? When I think fresh start, I think I never had to have read anything before. And all I have to do is read this. Like, that's what I think when I think of fresh start. I do not think of a fresh start as like, man, I need to read everything that came before this.
No,
like,
I think that Marvel's approaching this like a relationship is having a fresh start. Like, no. You went to stay with your mom for a couple of weeks, and now we're gonna come back and we're gonna go to Disney World for a couple of months, like for a week or two. Like, it's a fresh start, but all that baggage is still there.
Yeah, no. If this fresh start, Venom #1 was like, and Flash Thompson's back, I'll be like, all right, cool. We're fresh starting, you know.
But yeah,
well, I would say more people nowadays know Venom as Eddie Brock as opposed to Flash Thompson. Flash Thompson's popular as Venom, but I think when people think of Venom, I don't even think that many people think of Venom as Eddie Brock. I mean, if you had to like split it up in groups, I would say I don't know. That's the question that I should probably ask. I'm not going to ask Twitter because all the hardcore fans will say, well, of course it's Eddie Brock, you know. But that's like, I wish I could get that on the front page of Reddit to like non-comic readers and ask them that question.
All right, so the next one we're going to do is an Avengers book. No, it's a guaranteed. We're getting an Avengers book. And apparently the group for this book is going to be from the fallout of No Surrender.
Right.
The longest fucking story ever that serves no useful purpose.
Well, they've announced that the end of it is like the team out of this is going to be the new team. So the consequences of this may or may not matter.
Right.
Yeah, but like, Mark Waid is inventing a character I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like, okay, cool.
Gone. If you follow Jim Zub, which I do, he's tweeted a lot of responses to No Surrender. Everything happening about that new character is not going to be around. He says he has a plan for the new character, but it does not involve the Avengers. This is a new Avengers book about a new person, a new team built out of the remnants of No Surrender.
I'm surprised you don't like it. It's basically just like 1984 Secret Wars, but like but now, and that's kind of fun.
Oh,
like,
I know.
I'm enjoying the shit out of it because like there's a lot of potential for like fun out of this story. Like, it's the Grandmaster, so you know it doesn't matter because he's just playing games. It involves all these like D-listers who are, or not D-listers, but like people who have become A-listers that are now like kind of slumming it with the D-listers, and you're like, hey, how come they didn't take Falcon? He was Captain America.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's kind of fun, and you're seeing this brand new team spawn out of it, and the potential is all the A-listers are like in suspended animation, like maybe their consciousnesses are on another planet, like doing another crazy adventure. Like, you could tell 2 completely separate adventures within the same, you get a couple of bites of the same apple there. And like, the other thing about Voyager is, did Marvel make a big deal out of Voyager, or did everybody else make a deal?
Oh, it's definitely everybody else made a big, like, Marvel wasn't just like Voyager.
No,
it wasn't a huge deal. It wasn't being advertised or anything like that. I mean, everybody else made a big deal about it. The problem is that this has been done before by Mark Waid in the 90s in DC. It was done by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee. Yep. You know, it's been done. It was done by Kevin Graveau. It's been done before, like a secret Avenger that nobody ever knew about or everyone somehow forgot. And it's cool depending on the context of the situation. Like, I think that the Century and I think Blue Marvel did a really good job because the story around them
was really good.
Yeah,
but he got and you're right. The difference is all these guys got their own series to like tell that story with really talented people, whereas Voyager just kind of shows up, so she's clearly a plot device, and you know, like there's no lead being buried. Like, people are like, when Vision's like, "Who are you?" and I'm like, "Yeah, no, we don't know who she is. Obviously, she's the mole or something." Like, yeah, moving on. But yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying No Surrender. I feel like it's trying to be like what Marvel used to be, and I want them to keep that up, so I'm enjoying it. And like, and it flows. Like, there's no lag.
I read the first issue, but I dropped off of that. I kind of felt like I wanted to wait for the whole thing to wrap and read.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
That's how
it's
I
like
feel
12
about
issues long or some shit.
That's how I feel about Dark Knight, and it comes out once a month. For like, as soon as I started reading, I'm like, I need to read the whole thing. Like, I can't just read this in pieces.
All right, Fox. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sal.
I was gonna say, like, that's how I feel about Dark Knight's Metal, but nothing's happening in that book. And with Avengers: No Surrender, I'm like, oh, like every month there's a new one, and there's been no bullshit or delays or like or posturing. So it's like a refreshing, like, oh yeah, like let's see how these guys are doing. Like,
sidebar, real quick. I still like the concept of Metal. But I feel like Metal should have ended 2 issues ago. I feel like it's just spinning its wheels now. Like,
for no reason.
Right.
Like,
if it
I like it.
Well, it's still good, but I feel like if it had, like, the last 2 issues and then the latest spin-off one, which had the big battle between everybody, which I'm not going to spoil what happened in it. Rob did it at his channel already, but, like, I just feel like we should have just closed up shop. Like, when you had all the hype. Like, I feel like most of the hype is gone now on Metal. And it's and we're still going. We're still rapping.
It's just.
I mean, it would have been a great graphic novel, like just a huge 300-page graphic novel. That would have been nuts.
And I'm no doubt it will. Like, it's going to be great.
Right. So next on the list, they've announced the Domino, which you already know my rant about. I don't give a crap if they're in the movie. I don't give a crap.
No.
Like the Black Lightning thing for DC. Okay, that's different. Black Lightning has a show titled Black Lightning. If there was a movie titled Domino, okay, I will give that to you. Yeah. But you're talking about the side character who, like...
Well, Domino is also in Weapon X.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
She's already in that book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's already in a book. Yeah. So, like promote that book. Like,
where's the New Mutants book?
That's what I'm like.
It's on its way. It's coming. Wait till about a month or 2 before or after the movie comes out, and that's when you'll get it.
Domino is still a character whose mutant ability is to manipulate luck, right?
Yeah, she bends luck to her favor.
She's basically the mutant version of Black Cat, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But she looks cooler, kind of.
Well, and she banged Cable for a while.
Well,
and she was impersonated by Copycat. Yeah, and she's a Deadpool character. That's true.
Okay.
And Deadpool made her fall into
Black
pancakes.
Cat. They changed her status quo like 17 times in the last 6 months. Like,
shit, you know more than I do, man. I'd never give a damn about Black Cat.
She was going to be the Kingpin, and then Bendis, right before he left, Bendis is like, nah, she's not.
Okay, that is one thing I liked. I did like the idea of her taking over as like the Kingpin of crime.
Oh well, guess what? She's not anymore. The end.
I know they did that
going on with Lee Price and Venom, and then there was a period where she was teaming up with Silk. Now I don't think anyone knows what they want to do with Black Cat at this point.
No.
Yeah. She's just a free-floating character.
Yep. All right. So anyway, Black Panther. We know that's going to continue. So have they announced the writer for Black? I think I got that already. Let me see.
I thought Ta-Nehisi Coates was staying on.
Was he? That's what I'm wondering.
I heard that too.
Black Panther number 1. Yes, it is staying on him. Okay, cool.
All right, good, because he's writing one hell of a Black Panther story.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like, I feel like he needs to stay on it because his story is good in long form. So don't interrupt it and put somebody else on. You have to do the full story.
Yeah, it's definitely designed to be something that will span several volumes.
Yeah.
And then when he's done, he's like, "This is my story of Black Panther, like my run."
Yeah,
and it'll be a
people will
cohesive
look
story.
at it just like the Hickman Fantastic Four. They'll be like the Coates Black Panther run. Like that's how they'll look at it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And Black Panther as a movie, and he's a huge character now thanks to the movie. But even before that, though, he was still like a prominent character in the Marvel Universe. At least it makes sense.
He was by virtue of the fact that he was on the Avengers team. That was it. I mean, he had a few runs and whatever.
Yeah, but he pops. I would say that he pops up enough and has enough of a fan base. Nobody
I've
likes
seen
Domino.
more.
Oh yeah. He's not obscure. Nobody went to go see the Black Panther film asking who's Black Panther. Like people knew who Black Panther was.
I knew a few people who didn't know who he was, and I was like,
a huge chunk of people know who Black Panther. Like he's like I wouldn't say like they know all about him and they don't know his real name and they don't know about like Wakanda. But like, well, I guess now you couldn't really do it, but. Yeah, like vibranium, that kind of thing.
Sidebar for that one. Did you guys see the British company's apology for their costume? They made they made the clone costume. Like how they make like the off-brand copyright. And they named it Dark Panther, and so they made like a public apology. Dark Panther. Look up Dark Panther children's costume. You'll find it.
Like a rip-off Black Panther costume, but like we're trying not to pay royalties. Yeah,
wow.
Like Spider Guy. Yeah,
Spider Guy.
All right, so next up we got Thor, which I think we already know. Odin's going to be back to being normal Thor.
I think if you didn't think that was going to happen the second that Jane Foster picked up the hammer, you are deluding.
Oh man, that's why I don't understand that shit. Like the people who complain about Jane Foster being Thor, it's like complaining because it's Thursday. It's like, well, then just wait a day, and then it'll
just
be
wait
Friday.
a day, and it'll be
but it's Thursday.
That's what my argument is.
Like,
Everyone bitches
I hate
and moans about
Thursdays.
all the changes. They're like, oh, they replaced Iron Man. I'm like, wait a freaking year. Don't tell me you read 60 years of Iron Man.
Jason Aaron in what is it? The not the Mighty Thor. What was his run? Thor: God of Thunder was like, Jane Foster will not be Thor forever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to change her back. So you like, people were told that she wasn't going to stay Thor. You know, they were like, she's going to become Thor, and then she's not going to stay Thor. She's going to probably die, and then like Odin's son will go back to being Thor. And people still complain. It's like, okay, one, you didn't read it, and two, you sound like an idiot. Like, you know, that's kind of silly. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
hope
said
she
Thursday.
becomes Valkyrie or something, because she's a cool character.
No,
Okay.
she's going to die. Are you reading the death of the Mighty Thor?
No,
I'm waiting for that one to wrap up too, just because I know it's
she's
long.
gonna die. Like, she's gonna die.
yeah,
at
she'll
the end of the
die,
death.
but like, where's she gonna go? She's not gonna go to Vegas. Like, she's gonna wind up in.
That would. Well, okay. So the rumor is that Tessa Thompson's character is going to be rolled into Marvel Comics
Yes.
as Valkyrie,
Right.
which is fine. But like, I like Jane Foster Thor, so make something with her. Like, have her be something. Like a thing. I don't know.
I think that even if she goes away, they're gonna have to bring her back, because the amount of merchandising that they've made and the amount of big headlines they've made with female Thor, like, regardless of hate or like the story, the character has kind of cemented her place in Marvel Comics at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one hell of a story.
So okay, next up we got Multiple Man.
The story no one asked for. But then, okay, now this is where I try to balance my cynicism with positivity, because just because it's a story about Multiple Man doesn't mean it won't be amazing,
Right.
and it doesn't mean it won't be good.
But that
So
doesn't matter,
I'm
the
actually
Vision story is amazing, but like, it never got a sequel. It never continued onward.
Well,
but it
Tom
was
King
pitched-
also
it was
left
pitched
right
as a-
after it finished.
He did. And he's done interviews where he said it was never going to be ongoing. It was only ever going to be a maxi series. Like 12 issues is all I was ever going to do. You know, and that's cool. Multiple Man did die, and somehow he's back.
Oh
By
my
the
God.
power of magic.
Side note, Domino is done by Rob Liefeld.
Oh, really? She's got bad feet.
So
Hold on.
Those feet.
Based upon what you just said, here's the cover art. I'm putting it in the Twitch chat right now.
Oh, is it just the oh my God, I'm looking at Sal's face. I gotta see this.
how does he get work anymore?
Okay, that's not bad though.
But look at the face!
It's creepy.
Look at the
Well,
face!
But like, who asked?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, her feet look weird as shit. Like,
there are
it
so
looks-
many
but
artists.
honestly, it looks like she has the wrong feet on the wrong side.
Yeah.
her left foot's on her right leg.
Like, there are so many artists who would work for a tenth of his pay, who would knock it out of the park, and like, remember when New 52 launched and he and Rob Liefeld was given Hawk and Dove, and you were like,
No,
but you're
Frost,
doing new shit.
Frost, that is the book. He said that's not the book. Rob Liefeld, in that image I just gave you, says, "This is my cover." Doesn't matter.
That's
Okay,
the book.
they're saying he's not on the book. He did the variant cover. Okay, that makes a little more sense.
Huh.
It's
I mean,
not.
it
It's not
looks
like he drew it poorly for the variant. He's just not very good.
I mean, it looks like 1994 comic. I mean, it looks literally like something out of. I mean, the fact that Cable's not impossibly large, you know, like it looks like something out of 1994. I mean, even Deadpool looks like old school Mark Waid
His
Circle
Deadpool-
Chase, Rob Liefeld Deadpool. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I like the way he drew Deadpool in the New Mutants number 98. Like, I like the way that he drew the
yeah.
Deadpool character. Like,
Yeah, I like his older
that-
art better than his newer art. Like, him getting better did not fix it.
Let's keep moving here. Okay, so go behind. I'm going through my, because that was what he tweeted out. Those are the ones that they've confirmed so far. There's another one tweeted out. We got Avengers one. We got Black Panther. I got the Venom one. Cable Greatest Hits variants are going out in March. Oh, okay.
oh, just the best Cable stories.
No,
Okay, have fun
covers.
explaining
Cable
that.
covers.
Oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, just tell Cable's best stories out of context.
Oh yeah,
Good luck.
that character works out of context best.
Banner's back in Avengers 684.
Yep.
Is he?
Yep, on sale in March. The typical Hulk returns. Oh, not your
See,
typical.
That kind of disappoints me though, because I like Amadeus Cho Hulk.
But who's to say he's going to go away? He'll just turn into one of the other thousands of Hulks in the universe.
Yeah, what about Rick Jones Hulk and with Thunderbolt Ross and She-Hulk?
Yeah, okay.
I want real Red Hulk back. Fuck this new guy.
Thunderbolt Ross.
I agree.
I like Thunderbolt Ross.
I was not paying attention when it happened, and then I just saw like way less impressive mustachioed Hulk, and I go, "What the hell is this?"
Oh, dude, here's what happened. Here's what happened.
I was like, "Where's Sam Neill mustache, man? I want to see Tombstone Sam Neill mustache, Red Hulk. That's what I want to see."
No. Here's what happened, and it's the stupidest thing ever. Jason Aaron wrote a run in which the Hulk had found a way to become like super smart, and it was Doc Samson, and he found a way to depower all the other Hulks, and the storyline got left hanging, Sal.
Yeah, it just stopped.
Right, it just stopped.
Yeah, well, it was Secret Wars, right? That was what happened.
Secret Wars got in the way of it. But the best part about that is most of it was ignored. Apparently, except Thunderbolt Ross being depowered. Thunderbolt Ross stuck around.
They were like, no, but that's the thing I remembered from that book is that he got depowered and now he has to wear like a watch.
Yeah,
and it's.
I mean, I love Thunderbolts Ross. It's like Thunderbolt Ross with the Thunderbolts team. Like I thought it was dope as hell.
The book was so poorly written, but it was such a great idea. I was so on board for it. Like I read every issue. I was like, yes, Punisher and Elektra and Red Hulk and I was all on board. I'm like, this is so crappy, but it's like I'm so excited for this idea. I love that idea so much that I kept reading it despite how bad it was written.
Al Ewing is going to write the Hulk. Well, it's got my vote.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
I mean.
So that's what we know. That's what they've said. That's what's going on. Now I'm looking at the Marvel Fresh Start Initiative promo image.
Oh, good.
So here's the people that are clearly coming back. Out of the diverse characters, it looks like we're only going to keep Nadia. Robbie Reyes is going to stay as a Ghost Rider. Oh, no, by the way, we're also getting a Cosmic Ghost Rider book.
Right.
Yes.
Because he was very popular.
Yeah.
Amongst Redditors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's like Sal said it once, and I agree with this. Where it's like Marvel, like it's like Marvel goes out into the streets of New York, and is like, all right, guys, so like, what stories did you guys enjoy? It's like, well, I really enjoyed Cosmic Ghost Rider, awesome solo series. All right, what story did you guys enjoy? It's like, well, I mean, I really enjoyed like the idea of like Domino, she's kind of cool in Weapon X. Awesome solo series, like it's just like just give solo series out to everybody.
Yeah, you got a solo series.
So we have Cosmic Hulk. Okay, so out of the diverse whole entire run of things they've kept, okay, and two of these I don't even know if you count them as a part of that run because Robbie Reyes and Miles Morales were around long before they pushed all of that stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, but we got Miles Morales, we got Robbie Reyes, we got Miss Marvel, and it looks like Nadia, the Wasp, the current Wasp, is sticking around.
Yeah, it's all the people who had very, very little, if not any negative response when they showed up.
Yeah.
And Nadia. because
Nadia.
Really nobody noticed.
Well, Nadia came out and no one cared. She got a lot of flack for her book, but I will 100%. It was not a book for any of us. She was looking for other young women in the Marvel universe to make the super intelligent girls club, and I'm like, this is for young women. This is not
right on. I hope it sells. Knock yourself
out. If
out.
the Fantastic Four were around, it would have been Nadia Pym and Valeria Richards and Moon Girl, and they would have solved the problem of everything. That would have been that would actually be a badass story.
Okay, we got them. We got Deadpool. Deadpool's staying. He's on this roster right here. Doctor Strange, he got popular because of his movie, and they got Benedict Cumberbatch. They're gonna ride that to the end of time.
I mean, like Doctor Strange, the cool character. His book used to sell like 30 years ago. And when he has a talented writer working on him, like it's a really good book. Like Brian K. Vaughan's very small run was great. Aaron's run was great. You know
what they should bring back? Doctor Strange's Defenders, and it's a Black Ops team that he forms, and it's a different team. Every story arc is a different team, and they just go and do magic missions like that. Dude, I would be so down with that. Bring that shit back, Marvel. Like that's a Doctor Strange book I could get behind.
Okay, so we got what appears to be normal Cap, normal Iron Man, normal. Well, Thor looks weird. He's got a gold arm and a gold hammer.
Yeah, man, he's rich, bitch.
Yeah.
Got that Thor money. Got that Thor cash, son.
We got Gambit in the court. I don't know why Gambit's still around. They're like, keep Gambit around just in case that movie ever gets made.
That movie is. Yeah. That movie's. The world will end. I'll tell you what. Here's what's gonna happen. All right, like tomorrow. all right, Donald Trump will say some shit about Kim Jong-un, and like North Korea and the U.S. will go into nuclear war, and all of society as we know it will come crashing down, and what's left of humanity will take refuge in bunkers and like underground fortresses and so on, and 1,000 years will ascend to the surface. 500 years after that, humanity will achieve a higher state of enlightenment, and the hipsters will reach back to the 20th century and want to bring back some of the greatest things. You know what's going to happen? That shit is still not going to get made, because no one cares about Gambit's solo movie by now. It was cool when it was first announced, and I would watch it, but in what universe would anyone believe that Channing Tatum could play a good Gambit? That's my question. That's what I want to know.
He was in Magic Mike. It was good. The only Wolverine on this is proper Wolverine, which I'm sad about because that means Laura and Old Man Logan are out for the looks of things.
Well, okay, that sucks. But, I mean, is this? I don't think this isn't like the definitive lineup.
No. I mean, this is the promo. This is what they're.
This is who we should be expecting. We should be expecting to see these characters.
Like, this is the highlight character. Yeah. Well, okay.
Because there are some obscure characters on here. Like we have Punisher, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil. So basically, the Defenders that Netflix shows were good. Iron Fist, you didn't do well. Get out.
I'm surprised. Surprised they don't have the Inhumans. Oh, that's Jean Grey, I think.
Yeah, there's no Inhumans on here.
Okay. I just want to throw this out there too. The return of Jean Grey was actually pretty awesome.
That Phoenix Resurrection book was freaking awesome.
It was cool. And then they like how she came back and everything that was going on, which like I need to cover that. It was beast. Like I was going through that and I was like, dude, this hits me in the nostalgia feels. It's like if you've been reading the X-Men, like that's why I love that. It was bringing Jean Grey back. And it was a well-written story, and it was good. But it was like, and hey, if you happen to have read comics back in the 1990s, this shit gets you right in the feels. Because the X-Men go searching for like the Phoenix Force, wherever they detected that, and it's like the Hellfire Club, you know, when she was taken there when she became Dark Phoenix, and it's in Antarctica during like Phoenix End Song when that took place, and it's like all these points, all these significant moments where Jean Grey went and like a big thing happened is like where signs of the Phoenix Force show up.
Okay,
and it's just like. Damn, it was so cool. Like
it was. Derek says the solicit state that Laura's book is still continuing, and I guess Logan is getting a book called Reborn Logan, but there's no Old Man Logan.
Oh, see that's disappointing to me. I love Old Man Logan. Yeah. Like here's the problem. See, this is the problem with Marvel. Like Marvel, I love you, but I hate you sometimes. This is the problem that I have with that. You can't build up Old Man Logan the way you've done, and then get rid of him. I'll be honest. I like Old Man Logan more than I like classic Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like, I love Old Man Logan. He's a great character.
The trick is just put him back. Just have Old Man Logan in the Old Man Logan universe and tell that story.
Yeah, but like we already know how that story ends. Hickman already told us how that story ends.
His family's dead. He's got the Hulk baby moving on. Like it's him in the wasteland trying to fix things.
The Hulk baby became like the future Maestro weird thing, and then he made a whole
that sucks.
It was really good.
I mean, well, that was a possible future. The standard future was like Galactus shows up to Earth to consume it, and like there's a new generation of superheroes somehow, and like Baby Hulk grew into an adult, and like they kill Galactus. So I mean, like that was cool, you know. But like we never connected the dots. How we got from the end of Old Man Logan to that point. So
yeah, but you know how it ends. It's like like.
Well, okay, so anyway, we got Captain Marvel because they're pushing to try and have their big female superhero movie. Venom's on there because of the movie, but it's quite obviously Eddie Brock because of the whole look and appearance. Spider-Man front and center on this image.
Yeah, the face of Marvel Comics.
It looks almost like She-Hulk's like getting a whiff of Spider-Man's farts and the positioning they put her down there.
Dude, with that radiation, man, I bet Spider-Man's got some terrible smelling farts. Just throwing it out there, man.
What do you think only having the Thing on this promo image means?
Because Marvel's still keeping up with that bullshit 2-in-1, like the Marvel 2-in-1 story that nobody cares about.
I like it. I'm reading it. It's a good book.
I'm hoping they bring the Fantastic Four is going to come back.
Issue 6.
I'm hoping that's how they do what?
Issue 6.
Okay, I hope it's going to be awesome, and it's not going to be like the return of Martian Manhunter, where he's like, "Hey guys," you know, like I'm hoping it will be like a big thing. Yeah, you know, like with the Fantastic Four show back up. Like I hope it's going to be a huge moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, we have Bruce Banner back.
Or check out where I've left off anyway.
On that promo image.
Yeah, we don't know. No, who's writing them? Everybody keeps saying Nick Spencer because they read that 4chan thread. Yeah, I read it too. But who's writing it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Greg Pak will stay on. I mean, I love Greg Pak as a writer. I think he does. He's written great stories, man. You know, Testament, his whole run on the Incredible Hulk. I like Greg Pak as a writer.
All right, so
I think he
podcast, I'm gonna. Oh, it's a video. Never mind. Here it is. Okay. Oh, no, I went to the Nerdist website and they said, here's everything we need to know about the Fresh Start. So let's see if this is everything we need to know.
Marvel's new comic relaunch has everyone saying.
IGN Europe did that. They were like, here's all the titles that have been announced for Marvel Fresh Start. And I was like, awesome. And then it was like Venom. Right. It was like right when they announced it. I'm like, you know what, IGN, this is why everybody hates you. Just throwing it out there.
These are all the same things. They're all just garbage. And then like CBR is like, no, Fresh Start renumbering clarified.
Yeah, but everything you need to know sounds better than everything you already know. So
before we close the episode, then let's ask this. Let's answer one question. What do you guys think happened with Legacy? Because I've never seen such a shitty start to a supposed relaunch.
Well,
it lasted 4 months.
It started in October, and it lasted up until February. It was supposed to last until July. I think Legacy was it was exactly what it was supposed to be. I think Legacy was supposed to be Marvel's heroic age, and it was supposed to be how they brought all that stuff back and everything. And then I think it all just kind of, I mean, in my personal opinion, and I'm almost kind of afraid to say this, but in my personal opinion, I kind of feel like Disney went in and was just like, this is going to stay under the wraps. Anybody who mentions anything about this is going to get canned, but you're all fired. And brought in a whole group of people. And they were like, here's everything that's happening. It could just be that Sapolsky made a really good pitch. I have no idea. But I think Brian Michael Bendis leaving Marvel really, really hurt the company in a lot of ways. Because I think they were kind of like, all right, well, where do we go from here? I think they were hoping Legacy would be a huge return to things and it would explode and it would be their new 52. I don't think it is. I think it's Marvel listening to the vocal minority as opposed to the silent majority. But I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's or at least I guess listening to both groups, but putting the vocal minority ahead of the silent majority. I mean, sales speak for sales, and that's really all you can go with for the most part. But I think that people say that Legacy was supposed to be an interim event. They said that Legacy was supposed to be an event that happened until this happened, but I don't think that's true. I think it was supposed to be Marvel Legacy.
I think because if you look at this, even the wiki has it listed as its own thing, and it just apparently involved single storylines because it's already moving on now.
Yeah, I don't think it was supposed to be. I think that Marvel Legacy was supposed to be nothing. I think that.
I think it was their New 52. I think they launched it and said, we're doing Marvel Legacy, but without a plan. That's what I mean by the New 52, where they just said, we're relaunching. And then it was definitely
no plan. I think that I think it's more like Marvel tried to ape off of the name brand excitement and acceptance that DC Rebirth had. Because Legacy and Rebirth, it's very intrinsically connected, and I think that it was just Rebirth was being successful, so they aped off of that. I think it wasn't supposed to be called anything, and I think Marvel's really keen on naming things, which is a really bad idea because then everybody who reports on comics calls it a relaunch or a reboot or a new initiative or a fresh start. They call it everything. They go, that mean you named it. That means something. And it doesn't, and it's just no. It's just it's just like naming months. If you're just not paying attention, it's winter now, and who cares what month it is? It's cold. It'll be cold for another 2 months, or for a few more winters. It doesn't matter. I don't think it was supposed to be called anything. I think they saw how people were hashtag DC Rebirth, and they went, we need a hashtag too. Call it this until we figure out what we're doing. But then they didn't figure it out because that's Marvel's MO for the last 5 years. Was just I don't know. I don't know. Hashtag I don't know. Because they don't want to work.
I don't know.
I don't know. What do you think? And then they turn to the left and they go, oh, right. We understaff our editors. I'm supposed to talk to the editor of X-Men, but I'm the editor of 4 books. So there's no one to talk to. And I don't know.
I would believe you if Marvel wasn't billing Fresh Start as a relaunch.
Oh, now it's a thing. No. The Marvel Fresh. That's the amazing thing is, what is this called? The Fresh Start.
Fresh Start.
That's what Marvel called it. From what I understand.
That's not a title. That's not a title. That's just saying what you're going to do next. That's not anything.
Yeah, but I mean, but to me, that's why it doesn't necessarily work to say that Marvel Legacy was Marvel Legacy and the Marvel Legacy One Shot and all those things set up Fresh Start because Marvel's saying Marvel Legacy is a relaunch and now we've got another relaunch.
Yeah, they didn't. That's because it wasn't going to be one. There is no relaunch. Marvel Legacy, in my belief is there was no relaunch. That Marvel Legacy was just a immediate reaction to the retailer summit at New York Comic Con, DC Rebirth's total and utter acceptance by fans despite bad blood after New 52, and the vocal minority of like rage coming from the internet at a few of their characters and like a couple of their books that were selling. I think that it was just them going like, relaunch a couple of, like, renumber a couple books, but don't actually change anything. Just keep doing what we've been doing, but change the cover. Call them this. Call that company in Clifton that does holographic covers. Like, I know that like the numbers in the Rolodex, and that's in a box somewhere in the basement. But get it out there and get the holograph guys to do more holographic covers. I think it was hastily thrown together in like 3 weeks, and I think that they were like, just whatever, just call it something. That the fresh start is actually what Marvel Legacy should be called. Like, I think Marvel Legacy, the real Marvel Legacy, is the fresh start. But I think they probably either didn't have the name or they used it too early. But the Marvel Legacy time frame is just them going, I don't know.
I don't know what to do now.
Call it something.
And that's why I kind of agree with the attitude that, like, not everything needs to be called an event. The Heroic Age mattered because it was the heroes returning, basically. Like, the reign of Norman Osborn was done. So, Civil War, the infighting, the idea of there being secret invasion, all that kind of stuff. It was like the 2000s were designed. They were designed by Joe Quesada and all those guys to be a dark time for the heroes.
Right.
Because they're like, we're going to rework everything, and shit's going to get really bad. Like, and then we're going to go into the Heroic Age, which is the heroes picking up the pieces and moving on, and that's how the stories are going to be told.
What's hilarious about that was Heroic Age was like, well, we started to do that, and then fuck it.
Oh, that's true. I mean, you had like the Heroic Age, like everything had a Heroic Age one-shot, and you actually had like the Heroic Age branding and everything. But the idea was that it was meant to move superheroes back to like the heroes like Marvel Legacy, basically. It was designed to be legacy
but even
before
then,
legacy.
they didn't get rid of everybody. They launched a huge new event called Planet Hulk 2 or whatever with Amadeus Cho.
There was so much hype for Planet Hulk 2, and now World War Hulk 2, and it's just like petered out.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
They're like,
Somehow Sakaar is still there, even though it was totally shattered and obliterated. It's back now.
Here's the thing: Reed Richards rebuilding Sakaar, I buy it. Like that's not the thing that doesn't hold water. The thing that doesn't hold water is like when Marvel makes big announcements and like puts holographic covers that don't work on their books and like says they're going to do these new things. Like when the publishing company comes out but we didn't even get a chance to talk about the retailer summit. Not the summit, but like remember when? Did you read the reports about like how the DC and Marvel retailers conversation from whatever con recently? It was like a week ago or less.
I didn't read that. No.
About how like Marvel, like the DC one was like the head of DC just like sat down on the stage, was like, everybody come in close. Let's all sit down on the floor and we're gonna have a powwow. What's working, what isn't, blah, blah. Here's what we're doing. I got no wrong answers here today. And then Marvel had like security. They hired security. They made sure nobody was blogging or using their cameras or computers. They were like, they were all like tight-lipped on everything that was happening. It was just like night and day, but they were really caustic and antagonistic against the entire audience that volunteered to be there. And it was like, oh, you didn't learn anything. You're not going to change. Nothing was changed. Axel Alonso was fired. That's all you did. The end.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. That Marvel versus DC comparison.
I loved this one. I'm going to end our podcast on the best name I saw in the Twitch chat. I'm trying to find out who it was that said it. It was a purple name. That's not helping me at all because
it was a person whose name was in purple.
But he said that this is what they should call this particular run of Marvel Comics. The end is nigh.
Yeah. No, if Disney came in, it would be we'd see it would look different. We'd be like, holy shit.
I can tell you right now, based on stuff that's been going on, and I can't talk much about it so our YouTube network, Maker Studios, got bought up by Disney, and they don't seem to have any idea what they want to do with the company. And I feel like the same thing happened with Marvel, where like they bought Marvel, like, okay, we're gonna make movies, and they're like, okay, guys, we have a whole comic book line too. And they're like, movies.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
We don't. You keep doing what you do. Movies.
Yeah. I mean, look at Gravity Falls, great cartoon. Disney produces it. It's there's a graphic novel coming out, 400 pages or 148 pages, whatever. It's being published by Disney Books.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Who the fuck is that?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like Disney's recent acquisitions, they bought a lot of different companies. They're buying them for very specific. They're buying whole. It would literally be like I go to Walmart Supercenter and I just want to buy steaks for tonight. So my answer is I'll buy Walmart.
Yeah, because that's where the steaks are.
That's the only place you can get steaks is at Walmart.
Right. So I'm gonna buy the store because that's how I'm gonna get my. I feel like it's what Disney's been doing with a lot of their acquisitions lately.
I mean, it makes sense, like, well, I guess Fox won't give us the X-Men back. Well, then fuck it. We'll just buy the whole company.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we'll just buy Fox.
I'm sure we'll find a use for the other properties, but we want the X-Men.
Right? Like, what are you going to do with Aliens and Predator, Disney? You're going to make Disney princesses out of them? Like, you're not going to touch those properties.
They're going to license them out to Quentin Tarantino, and he's going to have Samuel Jackson get killed by...
I don't know.
There you go. Frost brings up another one. The IDW Star Wars books.
Yeah. What the hell are you doing? Because Star Wars is one of the only consistently top-selling Marvel comics they put out.
Yeah, that's the. I think about that from time to time, and that's the irony of it all. Like, they have the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe and all the superheroes that come with it in comic book form, but month after month, Star Wars always performs.
Yep.
Always. It never doesn't perform. Sometimes the spin-offs won't perform. It depends on how long they go for. They're usually 6 issues, and it depends on who they're about. But like Leia #1, one of the highest selling comic books that they ever released under the Marvel banner, like, or at least recently anyway. Like the Han Solo series, like Darth Maul, the main Star Wars story itself, Darth Vader. Like, I mean, they're just huge selling comics.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? Star Wars #1 sold something like, what was it, 200, 300,000? No, it was more than that.
Yeah, no,
because they also packaged it with other things. And
someone brings up that that the IDW Star Wars is a kids line, and so could the Gravity.
Who cares?
But exactly, it doesn't matter. Marvel, they have a Marvel kids line.
Yeah, Marvel doesn't publish kids books?
Now they do.
they have always done that.
Yeah, they have. It's called
I feel like a
Marvel.
lot of their acquisitions lately have been like that. They've been like, we're going to buy this company because we want, like, it's like going to the pizza parlor and buying the whole pie because you want a slice.
Yeah. Well, when you got Disney
it's buying the pizzeria because that's where the pizza is.
Yeah, buy the whole pizzeria to get a cheese slice.
And then if we take that analogy and go further, it's like, okay, you own the pizzeria, now buy. And it's like, I don't know how to run a pizzeria. I just want to eat a slice of pizza. Yeah. I just came in here for a slice. And it's like, well, like, you guys make the best pizza. Well, I guess you're going to have to, like, employ all of us and make sure that we get the right dough and everything. Oh, well, I don't care about that.
I just wanted a piece of pizza. Yeah.
I just want a piece of pizza. Just do whatever you need to do to get me the pizza I like. And then you just wander off.
And you just wander off.
That's the worst part.
But like, I meant like from a financial sense, from a business standpoint, it seems actually pretty smart to own all that stuff and all the things that come with it.
Yeah.
Because literally, like Marvel the Marvel Comics universe is now like whatever Disney wants it to be. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, like, and that's kind of the irony of it all, because people always bring up this question. Well, if Marvel were to reboot or something like that, then like the comic book line would become the MCU line. It's like, not necessarily just launch an MCU line. Right. And just tell the stories between movies. I mean, they do that now a little bit to a degree when they have.
Yeah, once in a while
they'll put out a book. I'll stand by my statement. I don't know why we don't have an MCU line or MCU matching books that make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, and when the book
backups or whatever.
And when the movie comes out and you sell it in IMAX, you get a free copy of the first issue.
Yeah. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and wind down this episode here. I think I don't know. The title of this one's gonna have to be just the ranting episode, just Sal rants, rants, and I just
we rant about stuff.
We did. I'm sorry. Thank you very much for letting me do that.
But thank you guys so much for joining us today. I believe there's going to be no episode next week since we'll be coming back from Emerald City Comic Con, but that's our off week anyway. So we'll be back in the following week after that, unless some giant news happens that requires a weekly poll episode to discuss it.
Which it is Emerald City, so it may very well.
We don't know.
Yeah, if we come back, for the record, to plan that accordingly, Rob, actually, because I'm coming back differently time from you, I did plan in case Emerald City has groundbreaking news. I come back at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. So I'm here in time for a podcast if need be.
We'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Right. That works.
Yeah. So, all right,
Sweet.
guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to give us a subscription here on Twitch if you want to support the Weekly Poll. I know this episode was a little bit off and weird, but you guys seem to like it when we have these random ranting episodes occasionally, so here it is. You can catch us all on our Discord. You can catch us all on Twitter. Comicstorian, Comics Explained, Sal Says What. On our channels, Comicstorian, Comics Explained, and Comic Pop. And we'll see you next in 2 weeks, unless we have a reason to get back.
Peace.
How's it going? Bye.
Bye.
Peace. I got you covered.
Bye, Felicia.